Oh, hey, there you go. Took a moment to go live there. Sorry, just a tad late today. I had something funny being relayed to me, and I might get in trouble for saying this, but we literally had somebody. Uh, you know what? I'm not going to tell the story till later because it might embarrass somebody. But I have a funny story to tell you, a marketing story of like a kind of story, but it's okay. Anyway, here's what I promised to talk to you. I'm going to get around to it now. There's all this lore, I guess, or mythology about, well, you should spend 7.25% of your budget should be spent on marketing and right? Okay, that's great. And maybe there are some formulas out there that are worthwhile when you have no other idea of what you're going to do with it. But I'm going to tell you how it gets figured out in real life. Okay, and I've worked with larger companies. I've had Gateway Computers as a client of mine for marketing, and I've had the small little one man practice as a client. And I'm going to tell you how you really do it in real life, so that you make the most money. Yeah, you can have a budget which makes your bean counter happy or somebody else happy as you fit a formula. But at the end of the day, as a CEO, you want to maximize revenue, dollarinos in the Dorio. Okay, so we want to make sure that happens. Um, so first thing is, it's not going to be straight percentage. It's going to be worked out based on math, and the math varies for every single one of you out there. Here's how it works. Say you have a new patient. I'll use patients in this case, but I do talk to people who have different kinds of business, but this applies to anybody. Whatever the value of a person, a client is, a customer or a patient, right? So say it's $5,000 lifetime value or immediate value, however you want to, however conservative you want to be on that. Pick a number. Okay. Then you figure out, you can say, well, it cost me this much to deliver and that much this, and you whittle it on down. I can afford this. No, no, no. The way you go is the other way around. You say, okay, uh, what percentage of those guys who arrive to you close for care or take you up on your offer? So say 50% of the people who show up pay me. Oh, great. 50% of the people who you actually get in front of you who are qualified, the right kind of person, sign up and pay. Good. So then you look back, okay, well, what percentage of those people who make appointments in your office actually show up? Okay, there's a certain percentage. And then how much you paying per lead. So if you go the other way, what happens in real life is you pay money in advertising to generate interest, an inquiry, a lead, something, right? Hopefully, if you're doing your marketing right, it's a relatively qualified person who's most likely someone you can do business with, who wants to do business with you, and they're coming to you now positively asking to maybe do business with you. They're investigating it. So then you get a percentage of those guys show up, a percentage of the guys show up for the actually end up accepting care or taking you up on your offer. There's your number. So what you didn't figure out is, okay, say you're paying $35. No, I should probably show this with a spreadsheet or something, but you're doing, say you're paying $35 per lead and you end up closing 1 in 10 people. So now you're paying $350 per person, and each person pays you $5,000. You're doing great. I would say you're probably not spending enough money yet because you go, well, gee, if I think about, imagine this way, if for every 5,000 client patient, $5,000 patient I get, you gave me $350. Well, how many of those would you buy? As many as you freaking could, right? Okay, at some point, I say, okay, what if it was $1,000 per new patient? A little tougher to say yes to. All right, what if it was $2,500 per new patient? I don't know. Yeah, maybe, John, but I'm really not making as much money as I'd like to. But if there was enough volume, you'd still do it. Yes. All right, somewhere above that number, it starts to get like it's just not worth doing to pay, say, $3,500 for a $5,000 patient or $4,500 for a $5 patient. You're not going to make any money. Okay. So when you find in your mind where you would stop taking just patients for money like that, there's your number. That's what we call your allowable cost per acquisition, right? The fancy words CAC, blah blah blah. Basically, how much would you be willing to pay in marketing expense to get a new person to walk in the door and sign up? Now, your numbers can be all kinds of different from the guy who's sitting right next to you because say the guy next to you, he gets 1 in 5 of his people to start. And the person on the other side of you gets 1 in 20 people to start. You see how your numbers are something different. The guy who can close 1 out of 5 is now willing to pay twice as much for a lead. So you could say to that guy, all right, well, your leads are $35, but you're going to only spend, but for every 5 leads, you're getting a new patient. The guy's like, well, okay, if he's only paying $35 per lead, guess what he really need to do? He needs to pay more per lead. He needs to actually spend more money. And even though it might not be as cheap per lead, he's got to make so much more money on volume. This is where the bean counters and the real life CEOs go out of agreement because the bean counter wants to see, oh, $35 leads. Can we get that down to $30? Can we get that down to $25? Ooh, look at our percentages. We're so geniusy, right? Where the CEO goes, no, man, if I can spend $35 and make, make $1,000 back, Well, if I can still spend $100, I'm willing to spend $100, $200 and make that $1,000 back, right? So you're willing to spend more money per lead, even though it's less efficient on paper. It makes more money in actual real life. So the way you determine your budget, you do that little mental exercise just of how much would you pay for an average new person to come in and do business with you, right? Be a patient of yours and so forth. And then you figure out what that is, and then you divide it. Then you take that number and you divide out your close rate, your show up rate, blah blah blah, all the way down until you have your cost per lead, and then you run advertising. So you hit your cost per lead, your maximum cost per lead or less. Okay, so that gives you your maximum number, and work that out or less, and keep spending money until it goes up to that level, right? Like, no, don't just try to get the cheapest leads possible. You want to get the most leads at your maximum cost per lead with your process going through. That's how you maximize revenue, real life dollars. I'm telling you, it's messy on paper because it looks like, well, it's our lead cost is so much higher, our marketing cost is higher. Yeah, but the bottom line is 10x, right? Or whatever it is. So that's just a way that I think kind of like CEO math versus CFO math. You want to make sure you do that. Because at the end of the day, if you know for every dollar you put in, you get $2 out, $2 out, you're going to put as many dollars in as you can, even though you're only making a 50% return. Yeah, great. Anyway, I might have messed this up a little bit because of the math. It's hard to get math on a screen where it's not being shown, even when the math is done in a video. But just know this: there is no exact formula budget. There's some good estimates out there, but every business model has their own. Everybody, every different even organization has their own because you have a different close rate and maybe a different package price, a different thing you deliver, and a different way you go about it. And maybe your lifetime value is fine. You want to use your lifetime value, and sometimes people just want to use their initial value you're going to get off somebody because when you do lifetime value, you're kind of going to finance that money into the future, and you're not going to see a full return on the guy for 2 or 3 years. I had a vet client like this. He just couldn't do that. He just did not have the money to wait a year and a half to break even on somebody. So we had to lower it down to what his initial was, which is a lot harder to do. But it just depends on where you're in business. So there's no hard and fast rule except whatever is a CEO, and do not let the bean counters push you around. Everybody's got one. My wife is kind of our bean counter, right? And I'm always the part where we kind of come across things is I want to spend more money on this, but it's not as efficient, she says. And she's right. She's totally right. See, honey, I'm telling you, you're right. However, the right real move is to kind of go out and be inefficient sometimes because you need tonnage. You need to get over a certain size. So anyway, it's the age-old battle of business. Hopefully I've given you a little bit to think about on this, and I'll see you in the next video. And I will wait about a month, and I'll tell this funny story, or I'll tell this little funny thing that someone said to us, like, you can't believe someone would say this to you in marketing, and they said it with a straight face. Anyhow, mystery for you for later. Stay tuned. All right. Talk to you guys later. Let me know in the comments, like this, share this, do all the usual stuff on videos you're supposed to do if you care for this stuff at all. It encourages me. It really does. It really does. Okay. Bye guys. See ya.